Microphone check, check 1 2, check 1 2, microphone check, check 1. Oh, there he goes. So, hey.
You all gave me the thumbs up, to be clear. Yeah, here just doing a test. This is an audio test. Audio test back to the DeGero. I see the thumbs up from the camera, but am waiting for our producer to tell me that he has gotten confirmation back from everyone that they are happy. Check 1 2, 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Thank you.
Bon matin tout le monde. Good morning, everyone. It's a great pleasure to be here. The new school year has begun, and hundreds of thousands of students are back at colleges, trade schools, and universities across the country. And while these will be some of the most memorable years in young Canadians' lives, they'll also be some of the most challenging. Hours of reading and working on assignments, studying for exams and working part-time. For many, it'll be the first time they create a budget, manage their expenses, and figure out what can wait till next month so they can pay rent this month. Long before students ever set foot on a campus or an institution like this, parents make a conscious decision to invest in their future. With mom at the kitchen table, helping her son with his math homework, with dad helping his daughter put the finishing touches on the science fair project, with grandparents reading to their grandkids. As a dad to 5 great kids, I know that all parents want a bright future and every opportunity for our children. Our investments of time make a big difference, but alone, they're not quite enough. Most parents can tell you a post-secondary education comes with a huge cost. There are very few Canadians who can just write a check to cover a year's worth of tuition, textbooks, and living expenses. For most parents, sending their kids to university, trade school, or college is the culmination of years of scrimping and saving. It involves a lot of trade-offs, but it's worth it. La plupart des parents peuvent le dire. Les études postsecondaires coûtent très cher. Beaucoup de Canadiens et Canadiennes ne peuvent pas juste faire un chèque pour payer les frais de scolarité, les manuels et les dépenses d'une année. Pour la plupart des parents, envoyer leurs enfants à l'université ou dans un collège de formation professionnelle représente des années d'épargne. Ça représente des concessions, mais ça vaut la peine. A post-secondary education is just about the surest route there is to a brighter future. By going to university, trade school, or college today, our kids will be better able to provide for themselves and their own families tomorrow. And that's why opening a registered education savings plan comes shortly after sending out the birth announcement for many parents. RESPs are the most effective way Canadian parents can save for their children's education, with more and more working families investing in them every year. Right now, the government gives parents a 20% grant for every dollar they put into their RESP, up to a maximum grant of $500 a year. As Prime Minister, I will increase the RESP grant from 20% to 30% for every dollar they put into their RESP, up to a maximum grant of $750 a year. Comme Premier ministre, je vais augmenter le régime enregistré d'épargne études de 20 à 30% pour chaque dollar investi, pour une subvention maximale de $750 par année. So here's how that would work. If a couple put $75 a month into an RESP for their daughter every month for a year, they would receive $270 a year to put towards her education. That's up from the $180 they would receive now. From birth to age 18, that works out to $1,620 more towards her education, wherever she chooses to go, be it university, college, or a trade school. Now, how much money parents get back for their savings is based on their income. And that's why the RESP grant has an additional amount for low and medium and middle income Canadians. Between 2007 and 2017, there was almost a 246% increase in RESP grants given to children from low and middle income families. By increasing the general RESP grant, the overall grant for low income Canadians will jump from 40% to 50%. With the increase to 30%, low-income Canadians will receive a total of 50%, $250, on the first $500, while middle-income Canadians will receive 40%, or $200. La subvention du régime enregistré d'épargne études va passer de 40 à 50% pour les Canadiens et Canadiennes à faible revenu. Avec une augmentation de 30%, les Canadiens et Canadiennes à faible revenu vont recevoir un total de 50%. $250 sur la première tranche de $500 et les Canadiens et Canadiennes à revenu moyen vont recevoir 40%, $200. So let's say a family after taxes earns $45,000 a year, and let's say that family invests $40 per month in their child's RESP, which works out to an annual contribution of $480. Under the current policy, the government kicks in 40 cents for every dollar the parents invest. Under our new conservative policy, the amount the government kicks in will increase to 50 cents for every dollar. A more educated Canada is a better, stronger, more prosperous Canada. Today, just over half of Canadian kids have an RESP. By boosting RESPs, a new Conservative government will help even more Canadians provide their kids with a smart start. Every dollar counts. Starting to save even the smallest amount early and contributing every month can make a huge difference over time. En augmentant le régime enregistré d'épargne-études, un nouveau gouvernement conservateur va aider encore plus de Canadiens et Canadiens à donner un bon départ à leurs enfants. Chaque dollar compte. Commencer à épargner tôt, même un petit montant, et cotiser tous les mois peut faire une immense différence au fil du temps. And Justin Trudeau and the Liberals believe that they can spend your money better than you can, that they can make better choices for your family than you can. I know that a dollar is better spent by the person who earns it than the politician who taxes it. And I believe that it's parents, not politicians, who know what's best for their kids. And this election is about the future of Canada for you and the future of your family. And the choice is between a government that makes life more expensive and a new Conservative government that will support you in making the right decisions for your kids. A new Conservative government that will make life more affordable, and a new Conservative government that will live within its means and put more money in your pockets so you can get ahead. Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much. Happy to take your questions now.
Good morning, Mr. Scheer. Mia Rabson from the Canadian Press. It's day 7 of the campaign, and I believe we're close to $7 billion in tax cuts now. You still are not explaining to people how you actually are going to find this money. Can you explain when we might actually hear how you're going to find this money?
Yes, as you mentioned, we have made many exciting announcements that are all based at putting more money in the pockets of Canadians so that they can get ahead. We understand that these are exciting announcements that a lot of people realize will benefit them in their daily lives, and we will absolutely show Canadians how we are going to get back to balanced budgets over a 5-year period and ensure that these tax cuts do put money back in the pockets of Canadians. It will happen with plenty of time for Canadians to make their decisions as to who to vote for on October 21st.
Français?
Oui, alors oui, c'est vrai, nous avons annoncé beaucoup des mesures qui étaient concentrées sur rendre la vie plus abordable pour les Canadiens. Et on va expliquer tous pour les Canadiens comment on va équilibrer le budget en 5 ans, au même temps qu'on laisse plus d'argent dans les poches des Canadiens.
Quebec has said that they're considering putting in place a values test for new immigrants to Quebec. The NDP leader today has spoken out against this. What are your thoughts on a values test for immigration?
Well, I believe we can all agree that different levels of government should be working on integration and promoting the fundamental principles that make Canada a fantastic, a wonderful country that people want to come to, and that's equality, it's freedom, it's treating everyone with respect. That is a focus for us, is promoting that type of immigration. We'll wait. I understand the Premier of Quebec is going to be making some of his intentions known. For us, we had this debate in our party during the leadership race. My views on this are clear. I don't believe it's up to the government to decide what type of, to implement some type of a test on what people might believe. But I do think it's important that levels of government promote that integration into our society based on fundamental freedoms and respect. Oui. Alors, c'est clair que chaque niveau de gouvernement a une responsabilité de promouvoir l'intégration dans notre société et assurer que tous les gens qui viennent au Canada comprennent les choses qui sont la base de notre pays, la raison pour laquelle les gens de partout au monde veulent arriver ici au Canada et promouvoir la tolérance, le respect, l'égalité entre les hommes et les femmes et tous les Canadiens. Nous avons eu ce débat dans notre parti pendant la course à la chefferie et j'étais toujours clair. Je ne crois pas que c'est la responsabilité du gouvernement. Je ne veux pas donner au gouvernement le pouvoir de décider. C'est quoi les croyances qui peuvent vous permettre d'être un Canadien.
Monsieur Scheer, qu'est-ce que vous pensez de la participation de Maxime Bernier au débat? Il va sans doute être, vous allez sans doute peut-être être la cible de ces attaques. Comment vous allez adapter votre stratégie?
J'ai eu des débats avec Maxime pendant la course à la chefferie. Je suis concentré sur Justin Trudeau. J'ai hâte à participer dans un débat avec Justin Trudeau parce qu'il a manqué le premier, il a signé qu'il va manquer le prochain. Alors, je suis préparé de débattre Justin Trudeau dans les débats de manque. J'espère qu'il va être là, mais je suis prêt pour chacun des débats qui a été promouvoir. Yeah. I've debated Maxime before. My focus is on Justin Trudeau, and I'm hoping that he shows up at the next debate. I'm looking forward to him finally showing up and participating in a debate. I'm prepared for that. I hope he attends the next one for the Monk debates on foreign policy. He's already missed the first one, but I'll be there, ready to debate Justin Trudeau and show Canadians why he has lost the moral authority to govern and how a new Conservative government will make life more affordable, put more money in your pockets so that you can get ahead.
Monsieur Scheer, sur l'arrestation d'un haut responsable de la GRC, si vous étiez premier ministre, qu'est-ce que vous feriez pour rassurer les alliés du Canada pour éviter d'éventuelles fuites comme celle-là?
Oui. Alors, j'ai dévoilé notre plan pour la cybersécurité et c'est essentiel que le gouvernement prenne cet enjeu dans une manière très sérieuse. C'est clair que on a des sur le gouvernement actuel, il y a des faiblesses. Justin Trudeau a montré qu'il ne peut pas prendre les choses comme ça sérieuses. Alors, on va assurer qu'on fait le travail difficile pour montrer à nos alliés que le Canada a un plan pour répondre à les menaces comme ça. Well, it's very clear that this is a very serious issue. We've seen in the recent months how security around data, whether it relates to individuals or for government, is a very serious issue, and it's essential. That's why we unveiled our plan to do more to protect Canadians and protect Canada from cybersecurity attacks. It's essential that we show our allies around the world that we take this seriously and that we have measures in place to deal with these threats.
Mr. Scheer, good morning. Omar Sachedina from CTV News. Child advocates across the country are releasing research today on youth suicide. What is your plan to tackle the crisis on Canada's reserves?
Well, thank you very much. And that is an incredibly important issue and one that I believe all Canadians understand that when you have vulnerable people, when you have young people especially who feel like they're in situations where there is not hope or there is not or if they're facing some type of incredible trauma that they're not able to deal with, that all levels of government have to respond to that. Especially as it relates to Indigenous Canadians, there's a unique responsibility for the federal government to do that. We had a private member's bill in our party for a national suicide prevention strategy. That's something that I certainly supported, and will commit to doing more as Prime Minister to tackle that very issue.
And just to follow up on the cybersecurity question, specifically though, how prepared is your party to deal with foreign cyber influence and the use of fake news online during the election?
Mm-hmm. Well, as I said, I unveiled a plan just a few weeks ago in Montreal, specifically dealing with the modern attacks on both states and individuals as it relates to protecting data. That involves ensuring that our RCMP and security intelligence agencies have the resources that they need, and that there's more transparencies to the public. Some of these things we only find out from our allies. This particular case that we're learning about today and in the recent days only came to light because our allies brought it up. So we need to do more. We need a government that does more, and we need a government that takes that seriously. Oui, alors, comme j'ai dit, j'ai dévoilé notre plan pour la cybersécurité à Montréal il y a quelques jours. Et ça va prendre un gouvernement qui prend cette menace sérieuse, qui peut assurer que le GRC et nos agences d'intelligence prennent cette menace sérieuse et a les ressources qu'ils ont besoin. Et aussi avec plus de transparence pour les Canadiens. Il y a quelques fois où on apprend les détails des choses comme ça de nos alliés. Ça montre une faiblesse dans notre gouvernement actuel s'ils n'étaient pas au courant de les menaces à leur propre pays.
Mr. Scheer, Mike Lecouture from Global National. You keep saying how much you want to make life more affordable for Canadians. Both the NDP and Liberals have unveiled their housing affordability strategy. What about the Conservatives?
Well, we are only in day 7, but we will have an aspect of our platform that speaks to making sure that there are adequate units of new housing units coming on the market to increase supply so that prices come down. We'll absolutely have a component of our platform that will speak to that issue as well.
I also want to follow up with a question about the candidate from La Prairie. who had an issue with robocalls, and it seems that either she or the party could have to face millions in fines. How are you guys going to handle this?
Well, my understanding is that a company that was contracted by this campaign did not follow the rules. We expect that will be dealt with. That contract will not continue with a firm that did not respect the rules. We are looking into it, but I can assure you that we are going to comply with all federal elections laws. Oui. Alors, c'est mon compréhension que c'est un contrat avec une campagne locale qui a eu des problèmes. Je peux vous assurer qu'on prend cette chose sérieuse et on va assurer que ce contrat ne continue pas et que nous allons suivre toutes les règles pendant cette campagne.
Good morning, Mr. Scheer. Yesterday, a member of your staff put out a statement about the debates and the decision to allow Maxime Bernier in there. And there's a line in there that says, Trudeau's been stacking the deck for months, using the power of his office to tilt the playing field in his favor for this election. Are you questioning the credibility of the debates and or the panel?
Well, as I said, I will debate anybody who is running to be Prime Minister. I am prepared to debate. I am hoping that Justin Trudeau actually shows up to this debate, and I'm disappointed that he ran away from the first one. Looks like he's going to run away from the second one, so I'll be there ready to debate him when he finally shows up. Non, je suis prêt de débattre n'importe qui veut être Premier ministre dans ce pays. Je suis déçu que Justin Trudeau a évité le premier débat. Je crois qu'il va éviter le deuxième débat, mais j'ai hâte de débattre Justin Trudeau quand il a finalement été là.
A question about yesterday as well. You were in Calgary, and of course, Alberta is one of the places where your party has a lot of support. And at a rally yesterday in Calgary, while the crowd was very enthusiastic, it was about 200 people, which, considering Alberta is prime Conservative territory, were you surprised that there were only about 200 people there, and does that concern you?
No, not at all. These events are meant to boost the troops on the ground that are helping out on individual campaigns. These are not designed to take people away from door knocking in other ridings. We actually specifically tell people, the best thing you can do to help form a Conservative government is hit those doors, get those brochures out. So we specifically ask other campaigns to keep their volunteers on the ground knocking doors as much as possible so we can have a great event with people who show up. I'm actually very pleased with the turnout. As you know, in Parksville, we were expecting only about 250 people, and over 400 people showed up. Yesterday, we were expecting between 50 and 75, and it looked to me like we had well over 100. So we're getting great turnout to our events, and we're going to continue to do these style of events that put a focus on going door to door, voter to voter, explaining our policies, getting our good message out.
Good morning, Mr. Scheer. Janice Dixon with the Globe and Mail. There are 300,000 Canadian citizens living in Hong Kong. Germany has already granted asylum to Hong Kong protesters. The UK Parliament has called on 53 member countries of the Commonwealth to offer Hong Kong people citizenship. Would your government offer asylum or permanent residency to Hong Kong protesters?
Well, I think that it's important to understand that Justin Trudeau, on the matter that is going on in China, has completely failed to deal with this seriously. It took him months to even appoint an ambassador to Beijing. It took him months to do what we were asking him to do and take the trade dispute to the World Trade Organization. Other countries have increased their consular services at their embassies in Hong Kong. Justin Trudeau has failed to do that. I think it's important to monitor the situation and see how it develops. Of course, we'll always stand up for human rights and the right for people to express themselves and to protest peacefully. And as the situation unfolds, we will have, we'll have more to say.
Okay, and the water crisis in Nescatanga is increasingly getting worse, with electric pumps breaking down, leaving people without water. Schools are shutting down. People are being flown out. What would a Conservative government do to help the people there?
Mm-hmm. Well, two things. Well, obviously, when situations on one particular Indigenous community or on reserve get to the point where it has this type of catastrophic effects on the community, there needs to be a swift response. There needs to be some kind of immediate solution so that people don't have to face the conditions that you just outlined. On a longer-term basis, a concrete plan to have meaningful investments so that Indigenous communities can know that they have the infrastructure they need to have clean drinking water. That is something that is essential, and that will require a long-term strategy with adequate resources behind it.
Mr. Scheer, the Liberal Party's just boosted the Canada Child Benefit this morning. You plan to restore some child tax credits that you talked about yesterday. Are you committed to the Canada Child Benefit as it's currently constituted?
The Canada Child Benefit is a conservative principle. Trudeau and the Liberals fought against this very type of thing, this very type of direct payment to families for their costs related to raising children. I don't trust Justin Trudeau on making life more affordable to Canadians. I don't trust him on putting more money in the pockets of Canadians. We know that he's going to raise taxes. His carbon tax is taking money away from hardworking individuals and families. I also know today that he has followed my lead on maternity leave benefits. This is a huge reversal for him. I thought he would have left his flip-flops at Harrington Lake, but it seems that he is once again trying to fool Canadians during an election, but we all know that he's not as advertising it. If he truly wanted to support new moms and dads, he would have voted for my bill. The fact that he voted against it means we can't trust him to actually improve the quality of life for hardworking families.
Are you going to commit to the existing Canada Child Benefit?
We are absolutely committed to the Canada Child Benefit. We've made that very clear before. This is a conservative principle. This builds on our legacy of providing child care dollars directly to parents that they can make choices. That is a conservative principle, knowing that moms and dads make choices for their kids better than bureaucrats in Ottawa. Nous sommes tous en accord avec nous appuyer le bénéfice pour les enfants au Canada et on va continuer de le faire. C'est un principe conservateur et les libéraux ont voté et ont essayé de bloquer cette sorte de politique. Elle a toujours voté contre les mesures, mais c'est un principe conservateur et on va l'appuyer, continuer de l'appuyer.
Good morning, Mr. Scheer. Sam Sampson from CBC Manitoba. We have one of the poorest postal codes here in Winnipeg, and a lot of families can't even afford to put anything into RESPs because they just have to focus on paying the bills. So besides this RESP promise, what else are you hoping to give Canadians so that they can give their own children a better life when they can't even afford their bills?
Well, thank you for that question. Of course, I will just take a moment to highlight the fact that this policy does help low-income Canadians who are able to put something aside by increasing their additional grant as well. In addition to the RESP policy, I have made it very clear that a Conservative government will continue to increase federal transfers to provinces for important social programs like education by at least 3% a year. In that suite of social programs are many measures that assist low-income Canadians. We also know that on this particular policy, the uptake, the number of low and middle-income Canadians who have started RESPs, even if it's only a few dollars a month, has been on the rise, and so this type of policy will absolutely benefit hundreds of thousands of Canadian families in all income brackets. Oui, je veux souligner le fait que cette annonce aujourd'hui a un aspect qui touche les Canadiens de moyens revenus et de moins de revenus avec une subvention supplémentaire. Et aussi que j'ai fait l'annonce qu'on va augmenter les transferts aux provinces pour les programmes sociaux chaque année par au minimum 3%. Alors, il y a beaucoup de programmes dans les programmes sociaux qui touchent la vie et qui aident la vie des Canadiens de faible revenu.
And Manitobans just re-elected Brian Pallister as our premier here, and he is well set on his Made in Manitoba carbon tax plan. So how would you work with Brian Pallister, our premier, to make sure that carbon emissions go down here in Manitoba?
Well, as we've seen in the federal government, carbon taxes have not worked. They have not reduced emissions. They have just made everything more expensive. That's why we're going to scrap the carbon tax. Provinces will be free to implement their own environmental strategies. We will have federal components that we will work with premiers on to ensure that where there is overlap in jurisdiction, that we have a great working relationship. Our principle of technology over taxes has a much better chance of succeeding. It gives Canada the best chance at achieving those Paris targets. Taking the climate change fight global recognizing that Canada can do so much to reduce global emissions if we export the types of clean technology that we've developed here, and putting more money in the pockets of Canadians with a green home renovation tax credit. So these are all measures that will benefit the people of Manitoba, and I look forward after October 21st to sitting down with Premier Pallister to discuss how we can work together on this file. And I'd like to take this opportunity to congratulate him on his re-election. Our election started just after he was re-elected, but congratulations to Premier Pallister, and look forward to having a good working relationship with him after our election.
Good morning, Mr. Scheer. Olivia Stefanovic from CBC News. I want to pick up on a comment that I heard you make to a supporter in Etobicoke Lakeshore, in which you told this person that you'd like to keep up statues of John A. Macdonald, and you spoke about not rewriting history. So my question to you this morning is, what would a Conservative government do to stop or reverse this trend of taking down controversial historical figures, the statues of those such as John A. Macdonald, or replacing the names of these buildings?
Well, I do believe it's important for Canadians to understand our history and to be proud of our history. Canada has been a force for good on the world stage for over 150 years now. And we will be making some specific announcements during the election campaign. But I think that where the federal government can play a role in promoting arts, culture, history, we absolutely have to do that without trying to rewrite history or completely eliminate from the stories that we tell the next generation of Canadians of those who helped shape this country, recognizing that at no time in our life have we ever claimed to be perfect, but we can certainly celebrate the things that we've accomplished together as a nation. Oui, c'est toujours important que le gouvernement fédéral a pris les mesures d'appuyer notre culture, notre histoire, d'assurer que la prochaine génération des Canadiens comprend notre histoire et le fait qu'on peut être fier de notre histoire aussi. Les Canadiens doivent être fiers de le rôle qu'il a joué pendant nos 150 années. Alors, on va avoir quelques annonces spécifiques pendant la course de la campagne, mais je peux vous assurer qu'un gouvernement conservateur va trouver les façons d'appuyer notre histoire et d'assurer que tous les gens savent l'histoire de notre pays.
I've also noticed that the NDP, Liberal, and Green Party have all made Indigenous land acknowledgements during this whole campaign at their events. So I'm wondering why your party hasn't so far, and will you commit to doing this now?
I've always acknowledged the contribution of Indigenous Canadians as it relates to building this country, and proud to have a great working relationship with Indigenous community leaders from all over the country. And I can assure you that a Conservative government will treat Indigenous communities with the respect that they deserve, honor the obligations of the federal government to Indigenous communities, uphold treaty rights, and address the specific issues that are facing Indigenous Canadians both on and off reserve.
Good morning.
Oui, j'ai toujours souligné la contribution des communautés autochtones, les Premières Nations, de notre histoire et de fabriquer notre pays. Et je vais continuer de le faire. J'ai des relations très, très ouvertes et chaleureuses avec des chefs des Premières Nations. Et un gouvernement conservateur va toujours traiter les communautés autochtones avec le respect qu'elles méritent et qu'il va assurer que nous suivons nos obligations sur les traités.
Good morning. Solomon Israel, Winnipeg Free Press. Just in regards to the Mr. Bernier being included in the debate, the Leaders Debate Commission, one of the reasons they said for including was a poll showing that support for the People's Party of Canada, possible support could be as high as 24.5% in Manitoba here in one of the ridings, St. James, Assiniboia, Headingley. And also I think worth pointing out that in the 2017 Conservative leadership race, Mr. Bernier, I believe, beat you in 6 out of 8 polls here in Winnipeg. So given that, I'm wondering, are you concerned about the People's Party of Canada splitting the vote for the Conservative Party here in Manitoba and in Canada more generally?
Not at all. People know that this election is a choice between Justin Trudeau and myself. Between a scandal-plagued government that has broken promises, led by a Prime Minister who has lied to Canadians directly, the choice between a government that is going to continue to raise taxes and one that will lower taxes, put more money in the pockets of Canadians so that they can get ahead. That is the choice this election. And for everyone who is tired of Justin Trudeau, who is tired of seeing billions of dollars of investment leave our country, who is tired of seeing the scandals, the ethics commissioners' guilty verdicts, for those people that want an ethical government that is focused on putting more money in the pockets of Canadians, there is only one choice. That's the Conservative Party, led by me.
And the People's Party candidate in that riding, Stephen Fletcher, a former Conservative, there was news recently that he was using repurposed Conservative Party campaign signs, painting them over, adding a P to make it PPC. I was wondering if you had anything to say to Mr. Fletcher in regards to that.
Well, I'll let him explain why he felt the need to do that. I think it's always been important to show those clear distinctions. We're running a campaign that's showing the distinction between ourselves and Justin Trudeau's Liberals. We're highlighting the fact that we are different from the Liberals. We do not raise taxes, we lower them. We do not engage in scandalous behavior. We engage in ethical governments. We do not support a carbon tax. We will scrap it. That is the clear distinction. I've always thought that it's important for parties to highlight the differences between themselves and other parties. That's what we're going to continue to do and show Canadians how we're going to help them get ahead. Thanks. Thanks very much, everyone. Merci beaucoup.